All right, you guys, welcome back. Another fantastic inker that we're going to look at in this really quick rundown is Franklin Booth, right? So Franklin Booth has a very cryptic style of knitting together his ink work, which I find very mystifying almost in its ability and execution. Like this trees, for example, and how he chooses to get the varying layers of the foliage, in here. It just blows my mind. Like the cloudscapes, how he has a certain knitting which you see Bernie Wrightson borrow a lot, because he was pre-Wrightson, but Wrightson borrows a lot from Booth. But if you look through this particular book, and this book is another one, it's not easy to find a lot of books on him. I mean, I only have, I think, one or two. This is one of them that I got not that long ago. It might be worth looking up for you. We can maybe put the ISBNs on so you guys can track down one of the main ones. But anyway, as you go through these, what you want to start looking for, I like his vignetting ability. He did these beautiful lyrical vignettes, almost Mucha-esque in their in the way that they're designed. For, I don't know whether this was for like some kind of stationery or something, probably, but these really beautiful design. And then how he again leaves these little, like for dappled light, for example, how he wedges in these little shapes. And again, it reminds me of things like Leyendecker, Mucha. With those complex design sense of coming up with a clever way of indicating something as difficult as dappled light in an ink. So I just think really beautiful style, little bit cryptic. We've done master studies from him in the inking class before, but I think my top 5 things are his design sense, his vignetting sense, his ability to come up with clever ways of knitting together, almost like wood carving type moire patterns, in his in the way he breaks up like a ground plane or something, or even in tree trunks and things of that sort. There's just a beautiful knitting and locking together that I think I would like to borrow a little bit of for sure. So I would say, his design sense, his complexity of his knitting, and then his uniqueness of his knitting. And again, not it's a little more punchy than some of the other guys we're talking about, but I do like that. I like his graphic appeal.
So one of the things like I like about what he does is when Booth trained back in the day, he saw etchings and believed they were inking, so he kind of made that mistake, and that's kind of how he came up with this style. And what's cool is you could see that the way he hatches a lot of the patchwork together very much feels like how somebody etching would do. But yet he has a little bit more subtlety than I think even some of the etching does. And just a technical master, probably the best inker maybe that ever lived. But one of the things again, design sense is just phenomenal, and just the way he works out his patterns, things like that, and rolls his forms. Like this one's more straight design.
Let's see if we can find one that, man, what is this?
Yeah.
Oh, here's these clouds are pretty.
Yeah, like these clouds are amazing. How he's rolling that form, and how, I mean, it's in the background, but it's so light in its design sense, and it feels like clouds. It doesn't feel overworked. Even these clouds here, it doesn't feel overworked. This is another thing, probably a second thing I really enjoy with his work is his value control. Is he really, where the foreground is, where the background is. He knows how to push things back, push things forward. Really important in inking if you're going to go this far with inking. And from my understanding, he would kind of work his way on a piece, and then he would kind of sketch it out and then work the next section. So he kind of kept working in. So he may have a rough sketch worked out, but he kind of work it in pieces, which is really interesting to me. So I think it's how he came up with such a cool, unique design sense in his work. And then, so I don't know if I...
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. And it's funny because I was just reading this little John Montgomery Flagg, who's also a freaking stellar inker, right? And, Booth's pen and inks have the lush richness of a fine old tapestry plus an exciting imagination. This kind of sums it up. And Rockwell has a nice little quote about him too. So obviously you're looking at some of the best illustrators giving him props about his ability. So someone to look at, another inker that you may not know about that I definitely think is worth taking, and just look him up on Pinterest, look him up on Instagram, whatever. You're going to pick up a ton of images coming up on him. And then if you really do desire to get more information on them, then track down some of the books and add them to your collection. I'm a big book guy. A lot of people now, save images. They don't want to go buy the hard copy, or they don't have space. I totally get that. But you may want to pick it up.
And one of the advantages with the books is if they're printed well, you could see this very crisp versus like a JPEG image or something might get pixelated, and you're not going to see that crisp
Yeah.
kind of
Inkers are one of the few people that you'd probably want to own a book on, because you just can't get that unless it's so high res. And usually when people are uploading them on the internet, they're just going to not have that ability to see all the subtleties that a good print would have, especially for black and white and the way it reproduces. But anyway, Dean Cornwell quotes, everyone that you admire is in here talking about this guy. So probably worth looking at. Yeah. Franklin Booth, great designer, great illustrator, another top 5 in our inking picks. So, all right, hope you enjoyed. We'll see you for the next one. Cheers.